Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Director Young, for your presentation. A group of colleagues in the House, the Freedom Caucus, they proposed a 30% sales tax as a way to address revenue issues, which would be about a $100,000 tax on a family buying a house, and about a $10,000 tax on a family buying a car. The President did not choose to put this into his budget. Why not?
Senator, I'll go back to what I just told Senator Braun. This president believes, and it is a core value, we can be fiscally responsible, and he's put forward proposals to do that. It will not be on the backs of middle class and working families in this country. We need to ask those at the very top to begin to pay what nurses, teachers, and firefighters pay in this country as a effective tax rate.
Oh, well, thank you, because the idea that we're going to cut taxes on the rich, which is what the Republican plan in the House is, and put this massive additional tax on the ordinary families, I know it would not sell in my state one moment. I do a town hall in every county. Many of them are purebred counties. And the idea you're going to tax a family $100,000 in a house and $10,000 on a car, not a single person in the room would stand up for that proposal. So I appreciate the President not taking that tact and instead saying fair share. By the way, I did read the analysis behind the richest 400 families paying about an 8% effective tax. Very sound analysis. It notes that capital gains basically go untaxed, unrealized capital gains, and that the tax rate for dividends and realized capital gains are much lower than the regular tax rate. And I for one, think that the richest 400 families should pay at least what a middle-class American pays rather than 8%. And that's what the President's budget seems to be saying.
It absolutely is. The billionaire minimum tax, for example, states that those billionaires, hundreds of millionaires, should pay a minimum tax of 25%. We think that that is a fair way to have a tax system in this country where middle class and working families have paychecks, they get taxed. The ways you cited of getting around that, those same people often use that wealth that they never get taxed on to go out and borrow for homes, yachts, and if it's real enough to go out and secure loans, it's real enough to be taxed.
Well, let's talk about homes and housing for middle-class Americans and low-income Americans, because it is the biggest issue coming up in my town halls. Can you talk about how the President's budget addresses the affordability of housing for ordinary Americans?
Absolutely. We've got to do something about housing supply. We often, as a government, have solutions to demand. We have voucher programs that have been hugely successful, still important in some areas that have supply. Not every area in this country is the same, so vouchers are still necessary. But we are proposing, like we did last year, tax credits that would go to developers who build affordable housing in this country. Also recognizing that zoning laws are often an impediment to building. We have resources that would go to help streamline zoning laws. I think in some areas of the country, housing is already at crisis levels when it comes to supply, which impacts, as you know, the affordability of that housing when you have too few.
Well, thank you, because that is a huge issue, and we need to invest a lot more. And I see even the dream of home ownership fading away for so many families in my blue-collar community. And I see that the rising rents are driving folks to be paying sometimes more than 50% of their income in a way that was not the case before. I want to turn to the debt issue. The debt is like paying our national credit card. We pass the spending bills, we pass the revenue bills, and the result is a deficit. And then when the debt ceiling is related to whether or not we pay that bill. I'm concerned that a failure to pay our credit card bill, if you will, is going to create a crisis. At a modest level, it might raise the interest rates, devalue our credit rating. It could crash the stock market. Isn't it possible that the strategy of creating a debt crisis is going to raise interest rates that will affect adjustable rate mortgages, the cost of borrowing for a car, perhaps the cost of borrowing for a college for ordinary families in America?
I'll just say we should study 2011. We did not default, but even getting close to default lowered our credit rating, which meant we paid more. The American citizens paid more for goods.
So direct harm on ordinary families.
Absolutely.
I have one more question if I have opportunity to do it, or otherwise I'm out of time. I'm out of time.